Hello everyone, my name is Uthris, and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. We are overlooking Palmdale, Springfield, and High Point right now as the traffic situation, I guess this is the traffic on the 8s here, seems to be going pretty poorly. Either from lack of good connecting roadways underneath the interstate system, or lack of good connecting roadways across the bridge and creating a really kind of single funnel over there for the common folk to get by. I got a decent amount of suggestions on how to fix this. Most of those basically imply that either the interstate is not really onloading and offloading where it should be, and so no one's taking it because they're a little bit more towards the outskirts, or we need more than one bridge across a river. So both of those suggestions might get worked on today. I am thinking I don't want to make any more bridges. Any more bridges than this, I think, would just clutter up the waterway, and I don't think would look good. And as you know, a person who cares more about looks than anything else, that's something that we'll have to look at kind of addressing. And so I think the best solution is we already have bridges here. They're just not being used by traffic. So I think the best thing is, instead of making a whole new bridge, well, let's just try and get traffic using this one as well, and create some different on ramps and off ramps directly across from each other here. You know, that way they don't have to go through this bit of a cluster to get around. So we're gonna go ahead and start on that. It's gonna be quite an interesting concept because we're already pretty tight on space, because this already has a big junction going between two kind of interstate connections. So adding more onto here will either work or not. We'll have to wait and see. So this is an off-ramp, and I'm thinking about borrowing a bit of this off-ramp here to do what we need to do. So no bus lane, yes, curve. I want to see if I can just simply make some of the offs join up, not to here, because that would be too busy in my mind for more traffic to take anything on this interchange, like at all, basically. So maybe if I wonder if I can come out and go under and connect more along the coastal road to create more of a T junction there, which might work. So this is gonna look a little weird. I need to probably come out straight first. So we can get a decent shape going, and I kind of want to follow the original arc as much as possible here, as traffic kind of works its way down towards the water. Kind of like that. They can come out here. Not a huge fan of these corners. I would, you know, if we had the move it tool like we do in City Skylines, I'd be trying to round this corner out, just trying to make it look a little bit better in a way. So that's one exit coming from across the river. We are going to need an on this side as well to go back this way. And there's not many places we can do this. This train station is quite in the way of the interstate there. Maybe we'll just do it here. Like, say something like this. You know? That way we have an on point. And please don't change my road. It literally was just created. On point over here to the interstate. So we have an on and an off. Luckily, the on point seems to be basically before all the junctions. The off point is not, and that's a bit of an issue. Because it's only covering the waterway side. It's not really covering the other end of town, so we might have to kind of do some magic here a bit, I think. Okay. How does that kind of change our routes? One of our delivery routes is already kind of using, or actually a couple of them are using the new off-ramp, so that's good. That's a good sign that at least it'll help our trucks a bit. It's going to take a while for the simulation to kind of understand that there's more options, especially if they're already kind of committed to their route. So that kind of covers this side. I need to get this area hooked up a little bit better, because currently coming all the way out to here just to get, you know, it's fine for this local area, but we need an entrance more central to the downtown. We need an on, or an off and an on as well. So what would happen if I ran ramp kind of out here in a way, and then we wrap it this is gonna look so ugly. If we just kind of throw that there. And then wrap it this way to go up onto the interstate across the river. Huh? So some of these roads might be more temporary than permanent. Maybe just to see what the traffic kind of redoes and recalculates to for this. Okay. Okay. So that will be kind of our test bed to see what happens. I have to speed up time for a little while just to see who might go what way and why. I'm gonna have to upgrade that too from a dirt road. There. Off, on, off. I don't think I have an on going from this side, but this is like the harder angle to get to. What? Maybe from this junction I could form something out to here. Just temporarily. See what that does to the traffic too. Because that's before all this fun noodly stuff going through there. And these overpass and underpass kind of connections. The bridge is a cluster. It's about as much as a cluster as normal. They're reworking some buildings. Our bus routes and stuff, I mean, like, we have a lot of ways for people to get around the town. Last episode we added a bunch of bus routes, but they don't seem... Let's look at the interstate here. So there's a couple vehicles, one or two, coming onto here. You know, kind of here and there, not really the amount of people that I'd like to see. Because I think High Point should be able to take the bridge. I think that's fine, right? So High Point over to Springfield should not generate enough traffic to create all this. It's really Palmdale plus West Jordan trying to squeeze across to this bridge as well. Seeing some people snake their way this way. But this traffic is just god-awful through that whole strip. Pretty awful going downtown as well. I'm going to see what happens, because I have a lot of people waiting here. If I get rid of this junction. This was like a stopgap measure to see if I could offload some of the people turning right off of here. But it doesn't seem to really... I think that's too much of a stopgap, because ideally, I wouldn't mind people coming off the interstate onto this Riverside Road to get to downtown, because I think that's a little bit easier for it. I'm just gonna have to wait and see what the traffic kind of redoes, though. It's pretty dense, though, for sure. And this back road that we're kind of pigeonholing and getting to work through here is kind of a stopgap measure. Really, you know, this road would be upgraded to, you know, probably something a little bit more final, and then maybe like a road like that to really help traffic come and offload and onload onto these two routes. God, this looks awful. This looks awful. This is why I'm not a city planner in real life here. Bunch of people trying to get through. And I know a lot of people say, hey, you could just get rid of the stoplight. Like if I get rid of the stoplight here and here, That might help the overall flow. I just think that's a silly sounding solution. It might work, and I think it does work for the most part. You can see kind of just, it's a slower but more consistent flow, especially the people turning right. They have a little bit more of a constant way to offload here. But I just don't think it's a good look. You know, like it feels like I'm in India at this point. You know, there's no rhyme or reason. People are just going when they can and as soon as they can. And while that might help some of the... Oh my god. So even more people are backing up now. The traffic is not getting better at all. In fact, it's getting a lot worse. How's it on this side? This side's a little bit better. I mean, this traffic here used to span all the way down. So that's a bit better. But the traffic coming over the bridge is kind of the worst. This is what DC looks like in the morning when I go to work, by the way. This side here. And because DC in Virginia, they only have that one bridge across the Potomac. So, you know, I definitely feel their pain. For sure. I just don't know how to fix it without literally ripping out and configuring like a big loop here of some kind. Trying to offload people a little bit better, but I don't know, even if I improve it here, I'm worried the traffic will just move somewhere else because we have kind of a grid layout going right now. Okay, there's some people coming onto the interstate. I mean, I could... Let's try this. Could come out this way. You know. There's a bit of a bridge pillar connection issue here. I don't think will really ever go away. Could start it from the opposite side, see if that works. A little bit better, maybe. That way I can get kind of by the bridge pillar. And see kind of how far we can take this. Something like that. May work. And if I do this, we have an offload point now on this side. Which may help. A lot of people coming off of here. which is fine. I know this whole infrastructure is going to need to be completely changed. But I'm just happy some people are using it more so than the looks of it right now. And I think that's what we might do, or I might do something a little bit more off camera this episode, just to kind of squeeze some things in that I think will take too long for this. And I would do a speed build, but I bet it would take me about 4 hours because I'm not really great with road layouts. You guys know this. Because if I was, this traffic wouldn't be an issue right now. As much as it is. I mean, the oncoming traffic is great. Just the going traffic is not good. Where a lot of people... Where do these guys want to go? Commercial building. They're trying to get into this area. Commercial building. Trying to get to that corner. Ooh, boy. That's quite the trek for that. They're trying to get to a residential building over down here, which doesn't really have a good offload. That's a better one now, though. So maybe once this traffic jam goes away a little bit, and what I'll do is I'll probably just bust out the interstate from here to about here, make some proper adjustments, on-ramp, off-ramp kind of things. Actually, I might not need to bust up the interstate. I might be able to just run a road underneath it and then get on-off ramps. I might be able to. I think that's the plan for it. How's public transport though? Like we got trains. No one really cares to use them. Even with a bus route, you know, coming through, our trains definitely losing money for sure. Not really going great there. The buses do okay. Alright. This is what I'll do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rework the... I might rework the whole interstate crossing, to be honest. Since no one really cares to use it in the first place. What if, instead of coming out across perpendicular to the river, if we just do a gentle curve and come out straight this way? That might give us a little bit more room to work with for the loop. And in doing so, might open up to have on-off just centrally here as well. And then we'll have kind of a more standard connection on this side. I'm gonna give that a whirl. So let's go see how will that succeed. All right, so I don't think any of this worked out the way I wanted to, which is a bit of a shame, but that's okay. You can see we're actually looking at the bridge that we wanted to fix the traffic problems for, and you can see we got gridlock going both ways at this point. It is an absolute kind of disaster of a situation for us, which, you know, it's okay. I think what this is, it's a sign that the amount of effort that I would have to go through to rework the traffic grid system is probably pretty substantial, to the point to where it's basically starting from a clean slate, which is something that we might want to think about in the future. This is kind of like my first mega city within Transport Fever, and it's a great learning experience to go ahead and take things to a little bit of the extreme, so that you can then take the knowledge that you gained from the experimentation and the reworking to your next project, right? Because it's all about growth. It's all about learning from your mistakes and being able to push forward and make something even better for the next time. So, you know, it's really just a general bargain. Let's just... There's a few things I do want to go over what I did try to do. I did try a couple of split exit A and B that kind of comes off the interstate, which you can see is somewhat working. The gridlock on here is causing interstate gridlock as well. So that's an issue. I don't think this was wide enough for the amount of cars that we were going to have. And I think that's kind of normal, right? When we first start out, the populations are really small, and as the area just increases kind of exponentially, I'm not really planning for the future very well, so that's something I need to fix. But you can see at least people are starting to use the interstate. They're kind of using every road now at this point. I reworked this side. I got rid of the big kind of the French horn bypass. Went with something more generic and with a lot more exit points. So people were starting to use the interstate a little bit. But overall, the bridge issue just kept compounding and compounding until we're at the point that we are now. Which is to say, kind of the last episode, in a way. So what I did here, you'll notice that the city is a little bit bigger. I spawned in a few extra grids around. I wanted to see how big this thing would look like in the future. If we were able to fix the traffic solution, and then adding these in and the increased population, how well my solution would have held up. So even if this worked, so say this worked, the traffic solution was solved, when we get back out to this point, you can see it breaking down again. So that's, you know, something that I really need to keep in mind moving into the next project of Transport Fever. It's been quite a ride. You know, we've gotten some really large buildings popping in. I think a more robust kind of rail network is almost required in Transport Fever, because again, with the traffic, and one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned is that the stoplights don't last long enough. This is normal play speed, okay? Let's see how long this light is green for. You guys probably just saw it when we just zoomed down here. But this is a really short light, and there's no way for me to edit that. There's no way for me to manage the traffic, at least in the vanilla game, in any capacity. You can see it's green right now. No one's really moving. They're just sitting there waiting because this traffic over here on the right side is not clear. They're not bothering to turn right on red if that's something they want to do. So this is basically stopped for the most part. It's green, one truck went, you know, and this is on ×3 speed. So we have seen one truck go in about 30 seconds to a minute. So this is the biggest downfall, in my opinion, of Transport Fever, is that I can control my trucks very well using waypoints and things. The AI is awful at being able to navigate around a city. Like, no one would take this bridge to go to this side if this interstate had as little traffic as it did have on it. You know, even if, say I was going from, say, back here over to an area the interstate didn't really cover, which would be, I don't know, just downtown in this area, right? Even if it's a bit farther to take the interstate to like this exit over here, at least I'd be downtown by now, right? I wouldn't be stuck in traffic. So that's my big frustration with the whole thing. It does look kind of cool to see this giant traffic jam, though. At the very least, all the different car colors and stuff. And then the whole overarching kind of the bay, the downtown, the interstates and stuff. All that, I think, turned out pretty good. I think aesthetically, this looks fine. Monetarily, you can see we have essentially failed. But that's okay. It's okay. Anyways, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and end this episode here. Go ahead and subscribe for more creative goodness such as this. This might be the end of this build, but don't worry, more things to come down the pipeline. If you enjoy the content, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, F's in chat for the failure that is this little save here, but that's okay. You all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.